Hi, this is Frank Saline of Third Level Consulting. I'd like to welcome you today to a quick webinar on professional office management. As you may know, Third Level Consulting has an entire school of business services, everything from the best practices library online, which many of you are familiar with. In fact, most of you are. The 2,500 document templates involved in that system, reflecting the business grade system, are an invaluable resource to the owners, administrators, and key managers in the Children's Activity Center industry. I'm sure you know we have business management success courses. We serve as the foundations of the business education for several organizations in the U.S. and abroad in several industries. There's ongoing education in the form of the business grades 5-star ratings and professional designation tracks for both office managers and program managers. In addition, we have conferences and seminars that we hold a couple of times a year and also abroad. And we also have expansion planning, feasibility studies, valuation, and buy-sell services. So anytime you need us, just keep us top of mind, and we can be of service to you. As you know, the business grades progressions, or if you don't, have these 8 areas: management, marketing, people, technology, finance, facility, risk, and inspiration. Where we're focusing really is on the technology portion. Included in the technology portion is the front office, the top-notch front office systems, the training manuals, things like billing, payment, collections, your hardware and software, database considerations, how your company files are organized, and of course now with electronic document management systems, that's just wonderful, of course. Protecting the customer information, your backup and IT management of your entire system, designing your cloud technology hub, meaning that how are you using technology overall, how do you keep score of that, and outstanding customer service. This is kind of a mixture of office and technology, but it generally starts there. So as you see, this is all part of that business grade system. That's where we're focusing. During the month of October, we gave 3 documents, each week, week 1, week 2, week 3, that had to do with completely organizing your office management systems. Some of these documents were highly detailed, some were conceptual in nature. The point today in this recorded webinar is simply to look at a couple of concepts and the specific details in each one. I'm sure you have a position description for your office managers and for your office team, but maybe this is another way you can think about it. These documents, of course, are all in the best practices library, as are the documents that were given through week 1, 2, and 3 in October 2013. The people part of this, an office manager, of course, is looking at managing themselves and everybody else. And of course, they've also got in charge of, or charged with, office operations manuals, being the database expert, or if they're not, delegating that to someone who is on the office team, a database expert, whichever database or customer relationship management software you're using. The scheduling, the staff training, creating this positive office environment. If you have a lead person, that's what they should be charged with, among other things. The office staff themselves, of course, is a team, and needs to work together smoothly, of course. The relationship with the owners, general managers, administrators, some of you with board of directors, if you're not for profit, absolutely critical as well, of course. And we have to work at those relationships. Communication is not something that necessarily comes easily or by osmosis. Communication is another workshop and another course that we have that has 4 phases to it. And then, of course, working with the program directors as well. And possibly some of them would be trained on the database as well to get their own information and do some of their basic promotions. Anyway, from the people standpoint, you can see that that's kind of the prime job of the office manager, or if you just have an office team without a manager, making sure that those things are fulfilled. You might divide their duties into primary and secondary, and then even tertiary with company improvement ideas. This is just one example, of course. There are lots of examples. But primary duties might be class formation and customer attendance, and a few things that have to do with that. Of course, your database does these things, but who is actually the expert on them? Handling customer inquiries and scheduling, maintaining accurate customer accounts, and of course the goal is 0 accounts receivables, by whatever your billing dates are. If you do sessions, if you do perpetual billing, whatever it is. In addition, there might be secondary duties, and maybe these things are things to do after the primary duties are done or during downtime, such things as creating brochures and reg forms, refilling the literature racks, coordinate website updates potentially, phone system maintenance, there's quite a bit there, the voicemail system and the phone tree scripts. Maybe there's office supply orders, office equipment, making sure these things are maintained, that the organization and cleanliness of the area is reflected, and possibly even the retail shop, if applicable, is a natural add-on for the front office in most cases. On the other hand, third-wise, you might look at company improvement ideas for marketing, ideas for the people and data and financial and facility and inspiration parts of the business, because really the office is a central hub for all that. A couple of things you could do. These tasks, of course, could be divided up daily, weekly, seasonally, or as needed. I think that's a useful way to categorize them. And I think you'll find that categorizing them in this way of primary and secondary is going to be helpful to you. You could even color code them once they were all blown up. You could even color code them into who specifically on the office team is responsible for this, who's really, really, really good at it. So as you can see here, this is just a real quick snapshot of office management. Something I'd like to talk about just a little bit here because it's somewhere that Third Level is definitely headed. Those of you that have been to the Brain Trust conferences, I know that we have separate tracks for owners or administrators or GMs. We have another track for program managers. We have another track for office managers. And these are becoming professional development tracks with the content as follows for office managers. You can see that there is a Office Grades Level 1. This is awareness of all these points right here on the right. Level 2 would be that they're implemented in your facility. And Level 3 is an Office Grades Trainer, which means that actually speaking at events or possibly training other office people is certainly possible. One of the things I'd like to go through here really quickly with you is just open a few of these up so you get an idea of what's in our tracks and what is in the certifications for office grades. Obviously with personal development, the personality traits, knowing their strengths, personal organization and effectiveness, communication skills and teamwork, etc. All these things we basically have courses or documents for. We have courses for personal organization and effectiveness. We have courses for communication, dynamic communication, and later on down at the bottom you'll see the customer culture development. We have courses for that as well. So personal development we feel is first. The office functions, of course, this kind of feeds off of the office manager position description you saw, but some of these things that are very, very important are numbers 2 and 3 in terms of priority. Everything from position responsibilities and writing those out to potentially the physical space organization, office manuals, etc. And there's details on all of these, of course. Point of contact training is a whole presentation that becomes very important because it's so interactive. That point of contact is moments of truth, and we've got lots of them in our businesses, don't we? Technologies and knowing the technologies, coordinating the technology hubs. Maybe the office is the one that does that, maybe it isn't. But either way, we want to be sure that it is happening. The database-specific topics such as the current, advanced, and future features of the software that you're using, and the interaction between the office and the database of your choice. Sales training, we feel like this is important as well. Marketing is one thing, getting the customer in is something different, and signing them up, retaining them, etc. is something even different from that. The retail shop, concessions, additional revenue sources. And finally, last but absolutely not least, of course, is customer cultural development, setting the vibe, the relationships, experiences, and memories. So this is just a very quick overview. There's very, very deep material in here, and that's where we're headed. It's the same way with with the program managers, only the content is different. And of course, in the business grades progression for owners, there is business grades 1, awareness, business grades 2, implementation of all the 96 points around this loop, and finally trainer. So I'd like to thank you for joining us, and at this point I'll go ahead and exit this, and I want to wish you a wonderful winter or summer, depending on where you are in the universe. Thanks a lot. Take care now.